Here's LeBron James with the ball. The defender guarding him is G.G. Jackson. At first glance, this looks like a typical basketball scenario with LeBron positioning himself against his opponent. However, there's an intriguing detail worth noting. G.G. Jackson was born on December 17, 2004. This piece of information is particularly interesting because LeBron's oldest son, Bronny, is actually 2 months older than Jackson.
Youngest versus oldest, and oldest wins. James.
LeBron has reached a point in his career where he's competing against athletes younger than his own son. If that doesn't redefine the concept of beating Father Time, then I'm not sure what does.
Here comes LeBron.
In this video, I'll be diving into some unbelievable facts about the 2024 NBA season. How poorly did Doc Rivers perform as the coach of the Bucks this season? Which game was the biggest surprise of the season? And if you stay with me until the final buzzer, I'll prove that Stephen A. Smith doesn't understand a single thing about basketball. Here's a fascinating piece of trivia. Anthony Edwards, who's been dazzling NBA fans with highlight reel performances for the past few years.
Edwards gets it back and threw it.
The same Anthony Edwards who's often been cited as a future star of the league. Believe it or not, this Anthony Edwards is actually younger than some college stars like DJ Burns, the leading scorer of NC State who just led his team to the Elite Four in the NCAA March Madness competition. In fact, Anthony Edwards is so young that, as per the latest NBA.com mock draft, a dozen players expected to enter the league are actually his seniors. Switching gears to unexpected turns, the Houston Rockets recently strung together 11 consecutive victories, yet seem unlikely to clinch a playoff spot.
The seventh time in Mavericks franchise history that they have stopped a team on a winning streak of 11 games or more.
This streak sparked a question within me. Is this the longest winning streak for a team that didn't make the playoffs? After digging into the history, it turns out this scenario ranks as the third longest streak for a team missing out on the postseason. Both the 2018 Miami Heat and the 2008 Portland Trail Blazers once enjoyed 13-game winning streaks within their seasons, but ultimately fell short of a playoff spot. Shifting focus now to the Golden State Warriors, many view them as underachievers given their current 10th place standing in the Western Conference. However, here's a fascinating observation. Despite being 10th in the West, the Warriors are closer to their conference's top seed than the Milwaukee Bucks, who are seated at number 2 in the Eastern Conference, are to the East leader. Isn't that crazy? But here's something that's actually even more bewildering. Have you ever witnessed a team dismiss an NBA coach only to bring in another who performs far worse? Here's what I mean. The Milwaukee Bucks began the season under Adrian Griffin's guidance, and despite a shaky start, he managed to steer the team to a commendable 31-13 record. However, following Griffin's departure and Doc Rivers' appointment, the Bucks' record shifted to 47-19. This change translates to a 16-16 performance under Rivers, raising eyebrows about his effectiveness. Is Rivers one of the most overrated coaches in NBA history? Expecting him to secure the number 1 seed might be ambitious, but achieving a 500 win-loss ratio, equating to what would be a 9th seed in the East, especially with a roster featuring a top League 3 player in Damian Lillard, is startling. It's a tough pill to swallow for Bucks fans, no doubt. But here's another curious fact about the Bucks. Throughout the season, it seemed the Bucks might have been performing better without Lillard. The reason being, Lillard has been seen as a defensive liability, and his shooting efficiency has noticeably dipped, landing in the lower 40s percentage-wise from the field and mid-30s from three-point range. However, here's a surprising statistic. The Bucks have a record of 3-2 in games missed by Giannis this season, whereas without Lillard on the floor, they've managed only a 1-7 record. While it's clear that statistics don't always paint the full picture, these numbers are staggering and prompt a deeper analysis of what's going wrong with the Bucks this season.
Oh, draw one right at Brook Lopez. They are attacking Brook.
Shifting gears, I've come across a rather compelling reason why the Lakers often seem to rely heavily on referee whistles for their victories. Their bench depth is alarmingly shallow, almost worth less than a bag of potato chips, figuratively speaking. Take a glance at this recent game outcome. The Lakers managed to win over the Brooklyn Nets with a score 116-104. Now, let's play a guessing game about the Lakers' bench production in this match. How many points do you think they contributed? If your guess was 0, you're not exactly right, but you're not too far off either. The correct answer is 2 points, courtesy of Gabe Vincent, who managed a bank shot off the backboard.
Go right at him, pulls, and banks it in. A welcome back.
The lone basket narrowly saved the Lakers bench from what could have been one of the most humiliating stat lines of the season. And speaking of stat lines, have you come across this fascinating statistic? Devin Booker, undeniably an elite talent, hovers around an average of just under 30 points per game over the season, showcasing consistent excellence against nearly every team. However, when facing the New Orleans Pelicans, the narrative shifts dramatically.
Out on Booker, gets to the left hand, scoops it up with the right hand. What a beautiful delivery.
To the Pelicans, Booker doesn't appear as merely a formidable opponent. To them, he transforms into the 6'5" version of Wilt Chamberlain because, astonishingly, his average skyrockets to 52 points per game against them this season.
Look, throws the defender Jones and knifing right to the basket.
Though it's based on just a 2-game sample, here's what makes it even more intriguing. These games were spaced 3 months apart, with the first in January and the follow-up in April. And it's not a case of uneven scoring that inflated his average. For instance, his 44-point average against the Pacers came from one game scoring 62 and another 26. Against the Pelicans, Booker consistently hit 52 points in both matchups. Then, to make things even funnier, in the game preceding this 2024 season, back in 2023, Booker scored 58 points against them. Let's now dive into an astounding development this season concerning Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat. So, throughout his initial 6 seasons in the NBA, Adebayo had only sunk a total of 8 3-pointers, never exceeding 3 in any single season. Now, fast forward to the 2024 season. Up until March 10th, Adebayo had recorded just 1 3-pointer for the entire season. Yet, in a stunning turnaround from March 13th to April 4th, in the span of his last 10 games, he has remarkably netted 9 3-pointers, shooting an incredible 56% from beyond the arc.
Bam for 3! Yes! Bam wins the game with a 3!
The transformation in his 3-point shooting during this short period is perplexing to say the least. Here's another interesting piece of trivia for you. Victor Wanyama recently set a remarkable milestone by recording the highest game score for a rookie in more than 10 years. On March 29th, in a standout performance where he scored 40 points, grabbed 20 rebounds, and famously tossed Jalen Brunson's 61-point ball into the stands, Wanyama achieved a game score of 39.8. I'm sure Wanyama will remember this for the rest of his career because, let's face it, he was fined $25,000 on this very day. This achievement places him in elite company, with only Blake Griffin in 2011 and Steph Curry in 2010 having posted higher game scores in their rookie seasons in the modern era of the NBA. Diving into the realm of astonishing NBA performances, this season's most unexpected highlight was Malachi Flynn of the Detroit Pistons scoring 50 points in a game.
Up, long gun from the top, it goes! Malachi splashes it down.
As someone deeply immersed in the NBA world and running an NBA-focused channel, I have to confess that Flynn, a bench player who bounced between 3 different teams this season and averages 5 points a game, wasn't on my radar.
He's hot. Here he goes down the lane of the rim, lays it up, lays it in, off the high glass.
The announcement of Malachi Flynn's 50-point game had me actually mistaking him for a collegiate player shining in the NCAA March Madness tournament. Remarkably, only 3 other bench players have ever hit the 50-point mark in NBA history. Jamal Crawford in 2019, Nick Anderson in 1993, and now Malachi Flynn in 2024. This performance, beyond a shadow of a doubt, stands as the most bizarre 50-point game in NBA history.
Head to Malachi, lays it up, lays it in! 50 points for Malachi Flynn off the bench.
Touching on the subject of 50-point performances, Kenneth Lofton Jr. recently highlighted the stark difference between playing in the NBA and competing in the G League. In the 2024 season, Lofton Jr. managed to only average 2.4 points per game while in the NBA. However, following his release and subsequent move to the G League, he erupted offensively, delivering an impressive 52-point game.
Lofton doubling, puts it in. He's got 52 points tonight.
This clearly illustrates the gap in skill levels between the NBA and its developmental league. Wrapping things up, I'm about to reveal the extent of Stephen A. Smith's basketball knowledge, or rather, the lack thereof, particularly evident when he shared his recent MVP picks.
Your honest assessment, who do you think's going to win? If you had to say right now, who do you think's going to win?
I think they'll give it to Jokic. I would vote for Shea. I have a vote. I would vote for Shea. Jokic would probably be number 2. I got to admit to you, it's a battle for number 3 between Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson.
Yes, you heard correctly. His list places SGA at the top, Jokic in second, and then, ridiculously, a tie for third between Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards. This selection raises eyebrows, especially considering there's a player in Dallas topping the scoring charts with an average of 33.9 points per game. Not just that, but this player is also on the brink of averaging a triple-double with 9.2 rebounds and 9.8 assists, along shooting efficiencies of 49% from the field and 38% from three-point range.
Luka has done this to many teams this year. What?
If that doesn't qualify as crazy, then I'm at a loss for what does. However, I do have another wild fact to share that might just top it, and it involves the notion that the NBA seems to think we're stupid. Seriously, the moves and decisions made by the NBA this season have been utterly baffling to the point where it's astonishing they expect us to take it at face value. Curious about what I'm referring to? Be sure to check out this video right here.